Cape Town obviously blows the strongest in the summer months, and what we find that typically a number of port operations, whether that's shipping operations, shipping movements, and cargo handling activities, are severely impacted when the wind blows the strongest. And what we do find though, and to make matters worse, is that a lot of this coincides with the peak seasons for some of the sectors that are impacted, particularly the container sector.
What happens often in season is everyone is packing and loading for the vessel. So if the port closes, everyone must do something with the containers. So the plug availability in and around Cape Town also gets congested, and we have to then think of alternative motors where to take the product. It makes it very difficult for us to forecast to the lines what we're going to take through PE or what we're going to take through Durban. Ideally, we would like to ship everything out of Cape Town.
We need to get a good handle on understanding the wind, how it will trend going forward, and what measures we can actually then put in place to try to reduce the effects on port operations and ultimately impacts to those customers.
CSIR and TNPA have had a long-term relationship. TNPA operates in the port environment, so we provide them essentially with weather parameters that inform their port operations. So wind, waves, currents, and how is that going to affect the safety of their operations and how that might change in a changing climate environment.
We jumped at the opportunity to partner with them, ultimately with the intent of understanding wind better, utilizing and taking advantage of the skill set and the expertise at CSIR, and then working towards very practical outcomes that we as a port will benefit from, but the industry as a whole. Yes, there are forecasting models, but the accuracy of those models for the local conditions in the port is not the best. And so that has a very disruptive impact on port operations.
In this project in particular, Access is a hosted program within the CSIR, and for short-term predictions, the main sort of value there is for operational decision making. So as an operator or terminal operator, you need to know how is the wind going to blow in the next couple of hours, what kind of activity can I schedule, what kind of activity can I allow to continue. So that's a short-term prediction, so in the next couple of hours. And for the next couple of days, you might need to know, can I schedule that this vessel can be in the port and I can do this and that operation. So that's really on the short to sort of medium time scale in terms of weather prediction. The tools that we'd use for that is obviously measurement using wind anemometers or wind sensors, and they essentially measure wind speed and wind direction. And the key parameter there is the wind gust, which is sort of an extreme variable of wind or a maximum variable of wind. But on the climate change aspect is how is that wind going to change? Is it going to become worse? Is it going to become better? Is it going to change in seasonality? Are we going to see it outside of the spring and summer months? Is it going to come in winter? And how is that going to affect how things are run in the port? So in the spring of 2026, what kind of wind can I expect as the port or as an exporter of fruit or as TNPA, so all the stakeholders who are involved want to know what kind of planning they can do on a long-term scale.
This research will enable us to plan better, to make better informed decisions. It will definitely have an impact on our costs, and I think it will be better for the whole industry. Planning for shipping lines, planning for pack sheds, farmers, when you know when to ship, where to. If we know ahead of time that we need to find that routing, we can also price better and work it into our costings.
What we would like to see is how do we then possibly amend or modify the port layout? How do we introduce any port structures such that we can then divert wind away from the operational area of the terminals, thereby improving efficiencies and reducing downtime. So those are the ambitions, and we'll work towards them.